Okay, welcome back. Welcome. This no Rumble is okay. Here we go, and go ahead and mute that. And let's pop this back up on the screen so that I'm not getting. And let's actually put these here. Now let's switch over to this. Give me a second. Let's squeeze that down, and let's put this up here. That's about right. Here, I'm gonna switch this down so it's all right. Sorry about that. Okay. So I am kind of trying a little different approach here, and which is I'm linking to my live streams page. Actually, could just link to my YouTube and Rumble page directly because the live streams probably show up on the front of those. So I might change that in the near future. But I decided that instead of spending extra time copying the specific video URL, the live stream URL that I just linked to the a link to the live streams page. Yeah, it's an extra click, but I just figure it saves me some time, even though not this morning. Yeah, uh, I wasn't on time this morning, and I wasn't even on time for the time that I was gonna shoot to start for, which is 12 o'clock, 12 noon. It's just 10 minutes after 12 noon. It's just because I was still setting things up. So I'm hoping starting tomorrow that this will be quicker. And but we'll see. And let's see something here. Scene, reload, save scene. I gotta fix that first before I do anything. So let's uh let's go to the script and let's go to supposedly now I can select. Let's see this one. All right, watch. Control K. Control K. I didn't know you could do that. I've been crying for a block commenting feature. Well, this effectively works as the same thing. It essentially auto comments everything you have in your selection by using Control K. So that's a handy thing to know if you like commenting out sections of code rather than I don't know, rather than I don't know you I don't I don't know what everybody does. Usually when I call it A/B testing. It's not. I don't know if that's an official thing. It's just something I didn't really make it up, sort of, but it's sort of a thing that I just decided to to mention or to start saying. But basically, if you have a function and you want to change it drastically, um, you want to make sure that you have a copy of the old one. Now you can put stuff into using Git. You can use version control, and then if you're good at version control, you can retrieve something that you just committed or whatever. I find out that it's kind of a pain in the butt and doesn't quite work for me. When I want to roll back to something, you have to do some weird shenanigans that involve creating a new branch and then doing something. And then when I tried to do that, it still wouldn't let me revert. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going to the history, pulling out the source file I wanted to replace, to revert, and then literally copying and pasting it in. And I mean, I can do that on my own. I can actually, um, and this is what I used to do. I take the folder and I make a copy of the folder, and then I put some sort of name on it. Now, granted, it's on the same hard drive, but what you can do is you can duplicate it onto other drives, USB drives. If you have a cloud storage, you can possibly upload it to cloud storage. Um, so I don't really see a benefit to using like I'm using okay, so I'm using GitHub and I'm using GitHub Desktop for Linux, which isn't even an official. Um, there's a group that actually makes the Linux build of GitHub Desktop. Now it was easy to set up and it's easy to actually commit stuff to it and all that, and that's fine. Um, some friends, a friend in particular, Rook, uh, says that he just does Git local and he uses actual Git. GitHub is it uses Git, but it uses its own. I guess you might say its own build or its own whatever. Um, it's Git, but it's through them. It's not through like regular Git. Like I think I have Git installed, but I didn't realize all the you know like you have to learn it a little bit, and even though it doesn't seem like it's gonna be would be that complicated, I have to learn it. That's basically it. I might do that at some point. And GitHub is owned by Microsoft now, I think, which means you know whatever. I guess they own my data. I don't know. Um, but I don't have a restricted license anyways, and I'm making everything available for my game, so it almost doesn't matter if I'm if it's up there or whatever. So um, so yeah, I guess I could learn local Git and I could probably do that. It is kind of handy to be able to just download it on a different computer if I need to. I was actually showing my dad what I was building, and I downloaded. I grabbed it from my GitHub repository online. So I mean, there's an advantage to doing that. Anyways, anywho, let's get back to what I am trying to do, which is I need to find. Okay, this is very small space, but I don't need to mess with door. I want to go to editor map. I want to go to what do I want to do in editor map here? Anyways, what I was saying is I've been talking about block commenting, and the reason is because sometimes I'll have a function that I want to change drastically, and I want an original copy. And instead of doing whatever Git, however that works, especially if it's just a single function or it's a piece of code, like a code block, what I'll do is I'll make a copy of it. I will comment out one of the copies, and then I will work with the other copy. But one of the versions, and then I'll work with the copy, and that way I can always revert back to it if I need to. Sometimes I'll do a copy paste and I'll paste it into a text editor just to save it. In fact, this kind of helped me with a problem that I had with GitHub when I was trying to revert something, and I did some weird stuff that actually got rid of some stuff, and so I basically went in and recopied the current file that I started with, and that saved me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this Git stuff. I don't know about GitHub, whatever. It seems like the old-fashioned way is still almost a better way to go because it's simpler, it's easier. You don't need anything special. You just make a copy. You put the copy elsewhere. You can make several copies if you want. You could still put a copy online somewhere if you have cloud storage. So you know. Why work with a version control thing when you could just do it? And the other thing about version control is and now it makes sense if you're a team and you're all working on the same thing, and so you kind of need some sort of something that kind of makes it easier or makes it more manageable. If everybody's working on the same things and they try to put in changes and stuff, you want to merge in changes or whatever. A version control is probably really good for that. For a lone wolf or a small team that isn't really doing that much like that, you probably don't need it. You probably just do the old fashioned way. You know, because you still have to commit it, and you still have to you push it to the server, but you still have to commit the changes. Now, I'm sure you can set up automatic commits, which means like if you did like at the end of the day or something, or before you shut something down or whatever, you can automatically commit, and you can push to a server if you need to do that. But since I'm doing that anyway, since I'm manually committing stuff anyways, and I have to do it whenever I need to do it, then I might as well just do a copy paste and be done with it. Anyways, let's get back to the thing at hand. So today what I'm going to try to do is um let's see something here. 12:45. I'm only going to get about 3 hours today, starting from 12 o'clock, even though it's almost 20 minutes in. Um, I'm going to try to do this in like segments. So 45 minutes. This isn't going to take 45 minutes, but like I'll work on this little thing that I'm doing here, and I'll work on it until 12:45, and at 12:45 I'll switch to actually working on uh to working on the game, adding new cards, and I'll do that for 45 minutes, and then another 45 minutes I'll start working on my layout tool. And layout tool is going to be a special scene that I'll run independently, and and we can switch scenes and stuff, and so uh I can even add that into the release. In other words, I could enter in a release and allow you to make your own game if you wanted to. Not that I need to. There's plenty of good deals that allow you to do something similar. There's something called Inkle, and then there's Twine, and then there's probably a number of other things. And then, of course, classic text adventure like Zork and stuff. There's tools that make interactive fiction and visual novels and whatever. So you don't actually need to use my stuff that I'm using. Uh, but at the same time, it'll be a tool that I'm using, and then I'll go ahead and release it just in case somebody wants to fool around with it later. But anywho, um, I need to figure out this one thing, so I need to go to load visit room. To visit room sorted rooms push front. Some of this has to do with this is something that Grok actually wrote. There's these couple of weird functions in here that I don't fully understand what they do. Let's go ahead and go to load all rooms. Where's load all rooms? There we go. Um, assign inbound rooms, sorted rooms, sorted rooms, update door visuals, update inbound, update door lines. Initialize initialize previous positions. I'm not sure what I use previous positions for. That's the funny thing about that. Control F. What is it used for? Saves previous positions, previous positions of rooms. Does not equal current position. Update lines for room and dependencies. Oh, this is the thing that actually will update. Let's update lines for rooms. Okay. Oh, doggone it. Control F. Okay. Down lines. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Date. Oh, previous position, previous positions. A room and sorted rooms. Huh. Independency order. How come? What does save do that this doesn't do? Update door visuals. Okay, let's find the save button. I need to know how come the line's missing when I load it, but when I save it, it restores the line. Uh, okay, on save button pressed. Rebuild rooms. Dictionary. Get children. Create doors from specs. Does that. Assign inbound rooms. For room and rooms. That get children. Meta. Okay, does it saves the data? Saves the data. Currently selected room. Editor selection. Room IDs in removed rooms. Delete JSON file. Delete meta file. Removed rooms.clear. That's interesting. Rebuild rooms dictionary. Hmm. This has to do with something to do with update the door lines, but okay, let's find load all rooms here. That's in the ready function. Hmm. Let's do something here. Rebuild dictionary for room in rooms dict. Oops. Um, okay, it's not that because that goes through the keys. So for each key, so for room in rooms dot values, that I don't know if there's an error there, but room dot date door lines. I think that's how you do it. Okay, let's clear this out and let's reload. In fact, let's look at the thing and reload it. Scene, reload, save scene. Property or key. Forget how to do it. I got it in script here somewhere though. Let's do something here. For room. Get children. Sorted rooms. And rooms dot get children. Rooms and rooms dot get children. How come rooms dictionary room ID equals room? Oh, values it. Okay, I get it. I get it. Let's go back to 383. There we go. That would be this. That. And let's go ahead and clear that out and let's reload. Here, let's go to 2D. Let's go to scene, reload, save scene. It might not do anything, but we'll see. Ah, so that fixed it. Rebuilding the rooms dictionary, updating the door lines. Um, I just had to make sure that everything is uh, like it's supposed to be, I guess. Um, okay, that'll work. Now, to the thing at hand, which is what? Um, okay, so now I need to do the prevent thing here. But first, oh, but first, now I can eliminate one of the lines here And that would be actually removing the door line. So removing the door visual and the door line for, let's see here for a second. Pardon me. The one thing I didn't think about too is a proper layout tool won't be in editor. So everything that I attached to the room that I just said is for in editor. Uh, I have to find a way of when I make a special scene, I have to find a way of making sure what scene I'm calling from, so that um, it knows to run them. You know, like I got is editor hint for most of that, and need to do is editor hint or is you know, whatever certain scene. So I'll have to figure that out. Um, if I have like a multiple loop thing deal, like okay, so say for instance, uh, I do like this. I do like this one goes to this one, and then that goes to that one. That's a single. But if I this one goes to this one, this one goes to this one, and I had a door here that actually went back up to this one, it's going to cross. It's going to go like all the way up to the top there. So with that tool, I'm gonna do a routing. So basically, the lines are going to be actually be paths. They're going to be line segments, and I'm going to use the line segments uh, to route around the. I have to do some pathfinding, so that might be a little bit complicated, at least for me. But it's going to route the lines around the rooms so that it doesn't ever cross the rooms, and then it's also going to make sure it doesn't cross any other lines. But then I'm also going to have a deal where the door node can be on any in any position there. I have to think for a second. What was I deciding to do? I was going to um let's see. I have to think about what I was thinking about yesterday. Because the new tool is going to be able need to be able to route things around to where they don't cross or anything. And then the other thing was, oh yeah, this was just for the time being. Stopping this immediate crossing with the single loop, and just making sure I avoid actual other kinds of loops. I guess I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And maybe I shouldn't even worry about the lines crossing over here too, because this works. So if I have to have a cross line, then I have to have a cross line, because the layout tool is not going to do that. The layout tool is going to find a way of routing lines around to where they don't intersect or overlap. I was going to do two-way doors also. Um, I was thinking, okay, so I was thinking of doing two-way doors. So Let me think for a second. Did I decide not to do that? I have to actually go back into the rock conversation, but so okay, so there's a thing here, right? So basically, a room should be able to be two-way, right? Now you can make it go only one way, but it should be able to automatically be two way. Um, think about that. Incoming, outgoing. Huh. See, now I'm just kind of confusing myself. Okay, so the ultimate thing is not to be able to do loops. The other thing is that that the line should be nearest to the room that it's coming from. So that means so there'd be two things. Two things is one is that this one wouldn't show up, right? Because it's going to the same thing that it has the parent from. So it has the parent from Hebrew Home 2, but it's also has a door that goes to Hebrew Home 2. So that means one of these got to be removed. That would be this red one that would be removed. The yellow one would still be there. Why? Because this is actually closer over here. And in fact, this would actually be on the edge over here, and this would be on the edge, the closest to the edge over here. Um, so that's how it would draw that. Now, the other thing is having doors go anywhere along the perimeter of the panel. You know, so you're not having just ones on top, just ones on bottom, but just basically the door position on the panel, the door nodule or the door position should be um, anywhere along here. I'm trying to think of the functional part of it. I'm not trying to like beautify it or whatever. Other than like if I have a bunch of loops in here, it's gonna get cluttered really fast and it's gonna look really ugly. But not okay. Not that it's ugly. Not that it's the thing is it will confuse you at which goes to where. That's also why I'm gonna have arrows. I'm gonna have path segments. So it'll be pretty much very readable as to what goes to where, and it's gonna constantly update so that no matter where you move your room, um, it's going to reroute the lines accordingly. Um, let me think for a sec. Okay, so one of the things I was proposing that I'm not sure if I'm still doing this. I think I'm still doing this, but I'm not sure if I'm still doing this. Which is you only have nine choices to make, right? Now, if every door goes to every room and it goes two ways, that means that uh, that that means that I need more than nine rooms. In other words, I need 18 possible rooms, right? There's only nine keys. There's technically 10 with the zero key, but that's for quit. And anyway, so there's technically nine number keys. So the other thing you do is you put the incoming as a door. It would be another door, um, but it would be a letter, for instance. So this is the door. So this would be, let's say this is choice 2. It goes over here, and now maybe the choice is choice A, right? For instance. Or choice B. It doesn't really matter. but it would have a letter. In other words, you can have a letter to be able to change to, or to go back to another, back to a previous room. Otherwise, you got a kind of a conflict. In other words, if I can only have 9 total doors or 9 total choices, then what's that interesting, weird, other weird thing? I'll get to that in a second. But if they can each have 9 choices, that's 1 through 9. Those are spoken for. So if I make this a door here and I make this a door here, then it's got one less door that it can add. In other words, this can only have 8. Even if this has all 9, this one will only have 8 possible choices, and even more if you have more at the top. So let's say you have all 9 here, and they all go to the same deal. Just for instance, you wouldn't have a deal that does that. They wouldn't all the same ones of the same room would not end up in the same door. I mean that wouldn't happen. But let's just say you did that. Let's just say you accidentally had some sort of situation where that works that ways. So then it uses up all the 9 rooms, and this is the only room you can go to. Or these are the only, even if you had like nine rooms and they all went here, then you wouldn't have any more. You wouldn't be able to go to any of these other rooms. It would only be the ones that you're linked to that you could do that with. I'm making this needlessly complicated more than it should be, because I have a tendency to do that, and that's kind of why I use the AIs to help me kind of sort through and think through stuff, because I need to talk over with somebody to get it sorted. But so let's say you have 9 different rooms that all go to this room, and so that means all of these are filled here. Now, if there are actual doors, then you could not have any ones go to any other rooms. You have to make sure that you're only doing, the 9. You're restricting it to the 9 rooms. Maybe that's not an issue though, because like I'm never gonna have like all 9 rooms. That's not even why I had 9 choices. I only have 9 choices because of 9 keyboard keys, 9 number keys. So that might still not be an issue, but it could be an issue. Say I wanted to go somewhere else because it's usually in the choose your own adventure, it's always forward, right? So not it's not usually a backward. I mean, you can do a loop, like I'm doing a loop here, but also I'm diminishing the number of doors I can have in here. That is, if I make it a two-way door. If I make doors that are 2 ways, and really doors that are 2 ways are not really doors that are 2 ways. Basically, what it is if I make a door here, then I have to make a door at the destination to make it 2 way, even though technically it's its own door, right? Because right here, this is a door and this is a door. They're both on the bottom, but they each have a door to this to the other place. So in this sort of situation here, now I can only have 8 coming from here. I can only have 8 doors, not 9, because one's already been used. So if I have too many of those, then I have that problem. Uh, Now, a way to mitigate the problem is that you have uh, that you literally have two-way doors by direction. Okay, so the way it works in the Godot text adventure tutorial, he sets it up. He has a dictionary of exits, and and it has a room associated with them, right? So it's a dictionary. So the key is the exit. In other words, west, north, south, east, and west, right? So if uh, if if there's a south exit here, um, cool reaction, I like it. If there's a if there's a south exit here, a single south exit, and it would be single because you're just doing cardinal directions, right? You're making a basic game. Back in the day, especially when memory was tight, disk space was tight, you want to find every chance to reduce the amount of data that you need to deal with. So that would mean is using 4 cardinal directions instead of 8, right? That means not using a certain amount of deals, using less, having to work with less. So the way that works is you have a room that has 4 walls, like an actual room that has 4 walls. It would be a location or whatever, and you can only go up, down, left, or right. You know, north, south, east, or west, right? Now you can do diagonal, and you could make code where there's a diagonal. In fact, there'd be a little bit of a of an issue with diagonals because um, what you're talking about is you're talking about a diagonal room that's over here. Here, let's see if I can. Let's here. Let's just move this for fun, and we'll move this for fun here like this. Okay, and I guess we'll save it. Doesn't really matter. Um. Okay, so and that's not, oh, well, that is diagonal to here. Okay, this is diagonal down, this is diagonal up. Okay, so especially the old point and click, you can walk in 8 directions. Well, normally you can walk in 4 directions, but you can program it to do 8 directions, right? It'll 8 directions. But when you're leaving the room, you'd have to be exactly in the corner to actually be able to go this diagonal, unless you do it by like area. In other words, if there's an area over here in each of the corners where you could walk, and if you walked off the screen in each of these 4 areas, that it would actually move the diagonal daily. But navigating a character that way is just a little tricky. It's a little um, confusing, right? If you mapped everything out, you know, uh, right? Um, you could do that, and you'd know whereabouts where the trigger point would be to actually go into the diagonal, and you'd be able to go in the diagonal. But for playing it, it would just be kind of confusing. So what they usually do is back in the day, also they had a grid. So they probably used a 2-dimensional array or 1-dimensional, depending on how old it is and your speed up. It's a little bit quicker to do a 1-dimensional array than a 2-dimensional array, at least back in the old days. Um, so you'd have this grid, but you'd only be able to move up, down, left, or right. North, south, east, or west. You wouldn't be moving diagonally. You might could move diagonally, move your character diagonally, but when you left a room, you're leaving in one of the 4 directions. You're not leaving in the diagonal. If you want to get up here, you have to either go right and up, or you would have to go right from here. So right from here, or I should say, what I should say is you either go right from here, or you go down to the right and up. And normally you go right anyways, but that's beside the point. So basically you have 4 directions. Even though if you had a hallway, you could have many doors. I could have a bunch of doors on each of the sides, that sort of thing, right? So what he did was he had a west exit, south exit, no, east exit, south exit, west exit, north exit. so that if you were going from here to here, so what it do is it would say, okay, your exit, in my case, it would be a door. Your destination is here at home 3. Now, to make it two-way, what you do is you go and you look at the destination, make sure it's there. And if it's there, then you go in here and then you change the west exit here in Hero Home 3 to equal Hero Home 2. And so Hero Home 2, its east exit goes to Hero Home 3. So that's how you would have a deal. So what it means is you're logically setting up directions, and your doors, quote unquote doors, are set up as directions, and that kind of works because it's a finite number of directions. Now, when I decouple the directional controls with from the choices, in which case there'd probably be not that even that many choices, actual choices. It'd be like you go into a different room. So you'd be actually relying more on the directionals than you would on the other. But the problem here is you could have any number of turn to page this, turn to page that, So any number of go here, go here, go here, or go here, and I have up to 9 keys, and I can limit that. I mean that it's not a problem limiting it to whatever. In fact, what I was thinking of doing when I decoupled the directionals is I'd actually just do the 4 cardinal directions, not 8 diagonals. Just do the 4 and then do up and down if I needed to. You're going into a house. You go into the living room and there's a stairs to your right, and there's a staircase. So you could literally say hit 1 to go to staircase, right? Or you could say um, go up. So if you say go up, then that means going up the stairs. Uh, and you don't even necessarily need that, right? So I'd have a living room. So I'd have like the front door goes into the living room. Now, I know this isn't exactly the way houses are set up. Usually you go into like a little hallway, and then your living room or den or whatever you want to call it is like to your left or right or whatever. It's never like directly. But say for instance you go directly into the living room. Let's say there's no window there. But you go through the door, and now you're in the living room, and you want to go up the stairs. Instead of saying go up, it would actually be a choice that says take stairs. You know. So in reality, I only need about at a minimum, I can get away. I could get away with 4 room exits because I can take care of the stairs. I can take care of going to different levels by using the stairs or using an elevator. Let's say it's a hotel, and that's an action. So that would be 1 through whatever. That'd be the 1 through 9 keys, and then your directionals are WASD, right? Or the arrow keys, and that's all you need to go to the different rooms. When I do animate, when I do have animated characters that move around, they're going to be perhaps moving around in 8 directions, but you're still only exiting the room in one of the 4, the 4 locations. You know, you might have 2 doors on the right, but you're not going to have, for instance, you're not going to have a door on a diagonal. You know, so no, you're actually having an exit. You're gonna actually having north, south, east, and west. You're having 1 door in each. If you want to do multiple doors, you can still do that, and that would be the same kind of thing. In other words, let's say we have a hallway and we have 2 bedrooms. on the east side of the hallway. So you'd have 1 and 2, and those would actually still be fixed directions. In fact, um, you could have 4 fixed directions. You could have 8 fixed directions where there's 2 on each side. Not that you necessarily need that though. You're going into a hallway, and yeah, that's kind of interesting, huh? Unless I do a thing where you have like 9 on each side, but then again, that's you don't have 9 keys. That would be unwieldy anyways, even if you could do it. You do all your keyboard keys. Yeah. Is there 36 keyboard keys here? Maybe. If there's 10 on the top, and there's actually a few more than 10, but let's say there's 10 on the top. 10, 10, 10, and 10, and some extra buttons. You're talking about 40 to 50 keys, right? For instance. Of course, you're not going to be having, 50 exits or whatever. That's dumb. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is it'll make more sense just to keep the number of exits to a minimum. And actually, I wanted to decouple. See, I wanted to start by just adding the choices. You go here, then you go here, then you go here, then you go here, and it would make it simple. But somehow it's not ended up simple in my head. Um, but then again, there's 2 ways you can do this. The reason I was doing a loop was so that I wouldn't have that many different cars to do. Okay, so uh, we'll give this uh, we'll give this example here. Let's grab this. Um, Here, let's pull this out here. Give this example. Go over the crystal ball. Uh, okay, here at home. Here at home, you can examine books, scrolls, and papers, or you can go to the crystal ball. If you go to the books, scrolls, and papers, uh, then he examines this requirements for this assistant. And so that clues you in. That's just a little thing about the story, but it clues you in that this is what he's looking for in an assistant. So this is what he's also looking for in someone to help him figure out what's happening in the lands. And actually, technically speaking, this assistant I was thinking of a normal assistant, right? Um, in the fantasy, right? And honestly, they're in a fantasy world, so into fantasy wouldn't actually be part of the requirements. Um, but bored of the mundane or something, maybe that's why they put it in there. So he wouldn't be choosing something from a realm that uses magic, uh, by saying I need someone that's into fantasy. Might be the requirement might be someone from a realm um, that doesn't have magic that's into fantasy. That would make a little bit more sense. So it might be something I'll tweak later or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The idea here, though, is the assistant is a separate thing from choosing someone to help him figure out what's going on with the lands. But it so happens that he's looking for these qualities in someone to help him figure out what's going on. So he's essentially taking the assistant requirements and applying it to this other thing, which is not an assistant per se. And that was the idea of actually having a separate deal. And so you don't really need to you don't really need to know this to be able to choose the correct one, because you'll choose it choose it eventually. And that's kind of by design, just because um, in a point and click, like a regular point and click adventure or interactive fiction, um, you're going to have rooms that you reuse. In other words, the study where the crystal ball is. Um, you pick when you pick the guy that you need to help you. Um, you won't be going back to different rooms. You're just going to be looking into the crystal ball. Crystal ball might technically be a room, right? I might technically make it a separate room that has, uh, doors to three choices, kind of thing. But anyways, basically, what it is um, you're gonna be going back to the crystal ball. In other words, you're gonna be outside you're gonna look inside the crystal ball. You're gonna have three options to choose from. You're gonna pick an option, and then it's gonna display some text or show a picture or something, and then you're back in the crystal ball room. What was I gonna say? Um, I don't know what I'm going on now, but yeah. Hopefully, I don't stay in this kind of this loop, analysis paralysis kind of thing, which I do kind of have a tendency. I don't have it real bad, but I do have a tendency to do that a little bit. So the idea is you loop back so that I can keep the minimum number of rooms there. Hey guys. Um, okay, so the reason I'm doing a loop and not having not doing a standard choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure. It's linear. Turn to this page, turn to this page. Eventually, it goes to an ending. It's either a bad ending or a good ending or whatever. It's an ending. Now you can have loops. They do a thing where they intentionally make you go back to a different page. An intentional loop. The reason I'm doing allowing loops is because in a point and click, you're not going to necessarily go to a new location every single time. So in this, okay, so let's give you an example. In this, you have Daniel, John, and Harry to pick from. If you pick Daniel, then you only have Harry and John to pick from. Um, if you pick Harry, you only have Daniel and John. If you pick John, Harry, you only have Daniel and John. If you pick Daniel, you have Harry and John. Anyways, eventually you're gonna settle on John. John's the guy, and so if I'm doing it like a choose your own adventure, if I want to have these choices where I still have extra choice, uh, I'm gonna have to create a new room for that. In other words, the first one is Daniel. So the two options are Harry and John. So you'll say if you want to go see, you go pick Daniel, and Daniel's not the one. If you want to check out Harry, turn to page 5. If you want to check out John, turn to page 8. Okay. So then you pick Harry. Um, then it goes directly to John's deal, and John's the one that's gonna lead you to the next part of the story, because he's the guy that you ultimately pick. So I've just created a I just created one for saying Daniel doesn't work and you need to go to the other two. Now I have Harry, but it's not going to be the Harry that you got from the crystal ball. It's going to be its own deal. It's going to be like um, it's going to be like you're looking at uh, you just come from Daniel. Daniel didn't have enough qualifications, and Harry's got too many qualifications. So that just leaves John. So John is a single, and then I have to make two different rooms for both Harry and Daniel, right? That would avoid loops. Now, if I allow loops, uh, I can have it just loop back to the crystal ball scene, and you just pick another one. So you can like keep doing it, and so maybe the first time you pick Daniel and Daniel doesn't work, so you go back to the crystal ball room, and then you pick Harry, and the same thing with Harry, and then finally you pick John, and John's the correct one, right? Okay. Are you still with me? If anybody's listening, there's nobody listening, so I guess it doesn't matter. But at any rate, um, so the one way is less efficient, right? It means I can customize the choices that are left, right? I can customize those pages to say different things. So I could say, say Daniel um, is not enough of a loner that works on. Um, then you could say, so you're not picking him, okay? And then you pick Harry, and Harry just came from Daniel's room, from the Daniel page. You go to the Harry page. Well, it's not going to be the same one as above. It's going to be a different one. It's saying, even though Daniel was enough of a loner, maybe Harry is too much of a loner, and so he doesn't work either. So you go to John, right? So the same way, you pick Harry first, and it says, you know, Harry already has magic in his realm, so that's a no go. Um, and then you pick Daniel and saying, oh, Daniel doesn't have any interest in fantasy, so he's not going to be the one. Go to John. Okay, John's the only one that's a single page. Now, if I do it the loop way, I go back to the crystal ball and I pick. So I have both Daniel, Harry, and John as each as a different page. John's the only one that's gonna allow you to go to the next scene, whereas Daniel and Harry, um, say um, go look at the other guy, or take another choice, and or whatever. So this is why I'm kind of having a problem here. So the way things were working out, right? Um, I was going, okay, what aligns more with what I'm gonna eventually do, and that is what was I saying? I'm starting to lose coherence now. Um, what was I saying? Sorry about that. Um, Let me think for a second. I'm sure this doesn't make for engaging listening, even if you are actually listening. Uh, okay, so for a traditional point and click, it's okay to make new rooms like that, or it's even okay to loop. Actually, you can intentionally loop, but I might would allow loops as early as possible here, because I don't want it to go into a bunch of different pages. I want to have to make billions of pages that may not even be seen. So practically, I want it to keep it in a loop. Now, and then it also aligns with a regular point and click adventure, because a point and click adventure, you go to the same deal. Let's say there are three doors. You go to this room with the three doors. You pick one door, and um, you go through that part of the house that that door leads to. It goes to the to through different rooms and stuff. So eventually, you come back to this room with the three doors again. Now you can go through that first door again, but you probably won't. You'll go through a different one, and it goes through a different part, right? But if you could see that, what's going on here is it's just a single room. The three doors room is the three doors room. You're not going to be making uh, what was how what am I trying to say here? Um, three doors, three doors. Oh, it's just that you have. Let's say it's like you have a hub, right? You go to the hub, and then you go to different areas. You know, different lands in Disneyland. You know, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, um, Adventureland, Main Street. You go to a hub, and then you go to different areas, right? You may return to the hub at any time, so you could return to those other areas at any time, right? And that's usually how a regular adventure game works. You have a room, you have a house that you go to. You might go to the same house over and over again. You might have a street, right? So you're walking up the street, and you need to go. Maybe you're a burglar, and you sneak into different houses, right? You might end up going to the same one, or maybe there's a safe you need to blow, but you need some materials to do it. And you didn't know before that you need these tools, so you didn't grab the dynamite, or you didn't grab the whatever the drill or whatever you're trying to find, whatever you're trying to use. So you don't know about that until you get there. Until you get there, examine the safe and go, I can't open this with the tools I got. I gotta go back and get tools. So you leave, you go back to get the other tools, you come back, you're coming back to the same location, the same safe that you're gonna try to open, you know? And so that it's more congruent with that. So being able to reuse rooms is kind of a chief feature of most adventure games, interactive fiction, text adventures and graphic adventures. We call them graphic adventures because they used to be all text. In fact, back before we really had monitors, now they've had monitors, for way back. Um, so, but until monitors actually came down in price and could be used by everyone, they were using printers basically. Teletype machine is something where you type in and it sends it over the phone lines or over wire basically to another machine, a receiving machine. The receiving machine actually prints out, you know. So they actually used to do like these long distance games where they actually call a phone number and play somebody else like chess or whatever, and it would print out the chess moves. So you'd make a move, type in a chess move, and then it would send it down the wire, and then it would print it out. I think that's how it worked. And I was even talking about that. Um, oh, and so then when we started having monitors, they were still doing text adventures. Why? Because graphics weren't really a thing for a while back in the early days. I mean, they were. I'm not saying the Apple II had in '79 or whatever had graphics, right? It was primarily used as like a computer that could make games and play games on it and stuff. Not that you can do other stuff, but they had graphics modes and things on it, and I don't know all the capabilities or anything, but so we've had graphics for a while, but most of the adventure games, they used to be text adventures because text was cheap, it was quick and easy, didn't use tremendous amounts of memory and stuff like graphics do. So in The late 70s. I don't know when Mystery House was out. In fact, wait, let's pull this back up. Wait. Pull this back up. And let's open a new window. And let's say Mystery House. Nope, not Winchester Mystery House. Reimagining Roberta Williams' iconic 1980. Well, this is 1980. Okay, so it's 1980. Really, that's all I wanted to know, anyways, was the year. So back in 1980, what did they do? Roberta Williams, and her husband Ken, made a game. Now she created the games that she designed it, the story and everything, and Ken Williams would program it, and it had the very first rudimentary. In fact, let's pull that back up again. Uh, Mystery House screenshots. There we go. We'll just go on Moby Games, I guess. See, look, what is PC88? I'm not looking for PC88. Let's, Street House. Oh, fine. Let's go to the Sierra Chest one. It probably has it. Screenshots. And this is on Apple II. So, this was the first. Okay, let's use this picture. This was the first graphic adventure right here. See, look at that. Look at those glorious graphics here. Yep. And that was the first. I want to say it was the first one, the first adventure that had graphics in it. I mean, maybe it wasn't, but I think they all recognize it. Um, was Mystery House Sierra 1980 the first um, graphic adventure released? Yeah, let's use Brave Leo. Indeed, the first computer adventure game to include graphics, although it proved static monochrome line drawings. A significant milestone in the evolution of adventure games, introduced visual elements to the otherwise sex-based genre. So yeah, it's technically the first one. So it's the first one to actually have graphics in it, and so from then on, they're called graphic adventures. That's why you hear the term graphic adventure. Is because they had graphics, basically. Yeah, glorious, huh? Okay, so where was I getting to now? It's almost time for my break, and I haven't done anything today yet. Well, except for I did fix a little issue here. Um, I don't even know why I went off on that, but but basically, in most graphic adventures, I guess I was just trying to tell you what I was meaning by it. Most of you that are interested in adventure games probably already know this, so really, that was just I was trying to state it for someone that was never into it and didn't really know it, even if you knew about computer games. But so anyways, in a graphic adventure, usually there's four directional screens. You know, it's either east or west or north or south. That's it. There isn't like multiple deals. Now, you might have a um, you might have a deal with the multiple doors. In fact, you can have as many doors as you want when you're doing like point and click or text adventure. Even straight up text adventure. This is just choose your own adventure, which means it's a certain amount of choices that you're presented with, and you pick a choice. So that corresponds to 9 keys, and that's why I've been doing it this ways. And when I start separating the directional, what I'll have is I'll have the 4 directions, right? And those will be the 4 exits. Those will be the only exits you'll actually have. That doesn't mean you can't go somewhere else. Like, for instance, say there's a closet, a broom closet in the hallway, and you go in the broom closet. That'll be a choice. That won't be a door. In other words, you're not going to exit to the west to go into the closet. No, you're going to say open closet door or something. And it won't even be that because we don't have state saving, so it's not like you're going to have a closet where it has an open and closed door and you can do that. This is just going to be simply, you know, inspect the closet. So you open the closet door and you see a couple of brooms, some coats hanging up, and a pair of shoes or something, basketball or whatever. And so that's going to be a choice. It's not going to be a direction. So the only directions are going to be directions. So I almost should do like that. But anyways, um, so the way I'm doing it is I'm doing it this ways. So if you have 9 different rooms go to lead to this one, this is going to have 9 different doors. Suddenly, all your doors are up, and you won't be able to go anywhere new. You'll only be able to go back to through the doors to the other the other rooms that connect to it. Which I guess, if you think about it, probably is not such a bad idea. Um, it'd just be a designer problem, wouldn't it? Yeah. Um, why don't I just do that? I mean, I'm sure that I could just make sure that I keep to that, right? Let's go grok here before I take my break, which is, I honestly should just take it right now, so I have the full 30 minutes there. Not that I wouldn't take the full 30 minutes anyways, but just to be on time. But let's go to Patreon perks. No, voice mode. Nope. This one. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so the reason that this is still an issue, right, is I might need to still go into even more things. So, if I have one door that leads back to the root, then I now effectively have 8 doors that I can use in this room. And not that I need that many. It's just the fact that whatever limit you put on is still a limit, right? Um, Now you still have, like I said, you still have problems crossing lines if you have like an intermediary. Let's say this. Let's say I want this to go up to here, right? So okay, so basically, I was going to allow a loop because it means less pages I have to make, and it also means it's more congruent with how I'll make the venture game going forward. because instead of having separate rooms for each of the choices, you'll still be in the same room, even though you'll make the choice, right? So if I change the exits and I'll allow only the choices to be the choices, that still won't work for this crystal ball thing because they're actually choices on the crystal ball. They're not. So what's the deal, right? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and go on my break. I know I didn't really actually get anything done, but so far, but that is okay. And we'll see. So I'm gonna go on break. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Break, and I'm gonna go ahead and mute the mic. Okay, I'm back. Let me switch to the desktop right now. And uh, I don't know if anybody is around, but I've decided on a few things. I've decided not to worry about even this looping part here. So this part, because of the way it's showing it there, I'm figuring that maybe okay, so I've kind of decided that I'm not going to worry about loops. That is, I'm not going to have loops in here. So uh, whenever I need a similar but a changed version of the same like location or room, I will create a new room. And um, although it'll be a little bit more work and stuff, uh, it just kind of makes more sense to do that until I do the other thing, until I have like a like reusable rooms. And even when I have the reusable rooms, some stuff like the crystal ball thing, which is just essentially it's not a room. The crystal ball itself is not a room, although technically I can make it a room. I can make it the crystal ball room. Um and I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll do that. But I'm not gonna make there's not gonna be loops here. Forward, that's all. Choose your own adventures are always forward. I still won't have dead ends or anything like that, and I'll still have a funnel, but it just means creating extra rooms, extra pages essentially. So I've decided I'm going to do that so that even though this is here and this works like this, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm not going to have any rooms that do this. Um, so it just means making extra rooms, I guess. So yeah. And I'll probably add on location numbers at the end. In other words, 44 was the last one, so it'd be 45 if I ever changed the name from Hubert Home to something. And I might do that. I might change it to Crystal Ball or something. And I'm going to do that for one thing. And then the other thing I am going to do is I am going to refactor some of this code so that refactor some of this code so that I have a special editor type of classes here, type of nodes. So right now we have this thing that says update door lines, right? Update door visuals, update inbound and all that stuff, right? And basically it checks if it's an editor hint, uh, checks if it's in the editor, or not inside the tree, I guess. I don't remember what is inside tree is about, but so so what I'm going to do is I'm going to return the room back to its original status, which is all this stuff. Okay, so door visuals, inbound visuals, door lines, those are visual related. They're not going to be in there. Door specs, inbound rooms. I guess what's what I use the inbound rooms for? That might be a visual thing too. And keep forgetting. You don't want to press the middle mouse button and it pastes stuff. Okay, so okay, inbound rooms are at the top. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Load from JSON data. Inbound data. So I save it as part of the room, right? That's okay, I guess. Inbound visuals, rooms. Maybe I'll leave those in there. Okay, we'll presume that inbound rooms array is not a part of the visuals, even though I think that's all I'm using it for is literally for the visuals. So I'm going to find a way of decoupling the visuals from the actual room class. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and extend. I'm going to create a new like extended room class that essentially extends the room class and then adds these graphical deals. So um, I think I'm pretty sure that means I can call all the room functions and call the same function and everything. And it's just the fact that it'll have these graphics attached to it. So then I'll have a separate room script, and the room extension script, which actually uses that. I'm not really sure how inheritance works in GDScript, so I'm gonna have to read up on it or ask Grok or something. But I've decided that's what I'm gonna do here. Okay, let's go to Grok here. We'll let it process that. Oh, let me pull up. Where's the the thing? I didn't ask it to add stuff. I don't know why I did all this crap. Just don't not do it. To adjust the visualization issue map, just skip redoing door to visuals. Okay. Um. Okay. Scrap all of that, and please don't offer price or code until asked for it. Oftentimes, I'm not ready for it. Sometimes I decide to do something completely different, like now. the thing that gets me is I know it's a it's a way it's programmed or whatever how it works in an LLM, but I get kind of annoyed. It should reluctantly offer information, and I don't mean that in a way that as trying to obscure the information, but it's like where's oh that's why okay, shorten that up a little bit, shorten up a little bit more. There we go. Now I can see both chats. Focus on listing ideas, confirming your plans. Okay. So I was thinking that I won't worry about loops at all. I fixed the missing line problem today, so that's no longer an issue. I've decided to keep the CYOA aspect classical. That is always forward moving. So if I need a loop, I'll do a new room that duplicates the old one, takes previous rooms. It's a little more work, but when I start doing room reuse, I can always think of doors and incoming links later. Please acknowledge. Okay, secondly, I realized that I'm going to need some duplicate classes in the duplicate editor map. Right now, visuals are linked to the room. Visuals are embedded in the room class. And only accessed when in the editor. And a proper layout tool will probably use those visuals in the editor scene. Please acknowledge. I don't really need to do this, but what it causes it to do is it causes it to say, okay, I read what you said, basically without me having to, and then it doesn't have to offer anything then. Because when you say something, even if you say a statement, it assumes you're asking a question, or it assumes you're asking for help for that, or it's programmed. It's not even that. It's really just that it's programmed to come up with a response, right? Remember, an LLM is a fancy word picker, so if you give it something, if you tell it a statement, it's going to try to pick the next word or the next paragraph or whatever. So you have to tell it, don't pick the next word or paragraph. Just tell me that you accepted the information that I've given you and you're waiting. So that's why I say please acknowledge. So I just wanted to respond that it's right. Okay. So I'm thinking I will want to create, um, so there are two methods I can use, and you can tell me which one is the better choice. I'm leaning toward one option, but I'll leave that until you give me your unbiased opinion. First method is I create a class that has the room class and door classes embedded. That is member variable as a door or room. That is in parlance composition, I think it's called. Second method is simply creating a, let's see, what do you call it? Extended room class that inherits from the original room class. So all the visuals will utilize how's it gonna do that? A an extended door class that inherits from door class. Okay. I can dump all the visual stuff into the extended classes and still use the root class. Actually, for my normal game, but use the extended classes in Azure Map 2. So, what would be your Recommendation. Two approaches to separate the visualization logic currently embedded in room Exzel, so you can use it while keeping the core game mechanic, core game logic. Composition, embedding room and door as member variables. Approach, create a new class that has room and door objects as member variables. This new class would handle the visualization logic. Yep. Retain core game logic. That works. Okay. Room member, possibly a doors array door member, or access the room doors array directly. Visualization functions, e.g., update door visuals will be moved into editor room, operating in the embedded room and its doors. Editor room instances instead of room instances, but the game logic will still use the original room class. Inheritance. Create extended classes, editor room, editor door, that inherit from room and door, respectively. Move all the visualization logic into these subclasses, keeping the base room and door classes free of editor-specific code. That works. Extends room and overrides or adds visualization functions. Update editor door extends door. If any door-specific visualization logic needs to be added, though most visuals are in room, so this might not be necessary. Yeah, when we do have the color, and even that we don't strictly need, but anyways. Editor map 2, you'd use editor room instances. Well, game logic uses the original room class. Pros, composition, clear separation. The editor room class is entirely separate from room, ensuring the editor specific visualization logic doesn't leak into the core game logic. You can easily swap out the embedded room or door objects if needed, or even create different editor-specific wrappers for different visualization styles without touching the base classes. Isolation changes room or door for gameplay don't affect editor room, reducing the risk of breaking editor functionality. More complex setup. You need to modify editor map to GD to work with editor room instances. Yeah, but we're gonna put the extended. We're gonna do the separation first in the editor map, and then do it that ways. Might involve updating, loading, and saving logic. Load all rooms, save room data for room. And actually, this means that the I could still have the plugin, but I didn't think about that. Okay. Access property, accessing room properties requires going through the wrapper, which you get a layer of indirection. But you might need to duplicate some logic or data between room and editor room. Keep them in sync. To inherits. Simpler integration. Inherits all properties and methods from room, so editor map can use editor room instances directly without significant changes to existing logic. It can still work with editor room as if it were a room. Direct access can access room properties and methods directly. A room is a room. Natural fit for Godot. Godot's type system and scene tree work well with inheritance, so editor room can seamlessly replace room and editor map to .tscene, also being compatible with the editor nodes hierarchy. It's both a node 2D. Tight coupling. Editor room is directly tied to room through inheritance, so changes to room could potentially affect editor room. You need to be careful to keep visualization logic isolated. That shouldn't be a problem though. I mean, that's fine. That's what I'm thinking. I add stuff to room if I need some specific to the room that I need to add, like the doors or whatever, the exits and stuff. I just do it. Okay. Inheritance locks you into single hierarchy. If you later need a different visualization approach that doesn't fit the room structure, you'd have to create another subclass or refactor significantly. But if room grows more gameplay features, editor room inherits all that, even if it's not needed for visualization. Recommendation. I recommend method 2, inheritance. Here's why. Ease of integration, right? can access room properties method directly in editor room, avoiding the indirection of composition. Alignment with Godot. Inheritance is a natural fit for Godot's node-based system. Simplicity for use case. Your visualization logic is already tightly coupled to room's data. Inheritance allows you to reuse the structure directly. While composition require more effort to map between editor room and room data. While composition offers better oscillation flexibility for larger, more modular systems, your project turn code, moving visualization logic and duplicate editor map while keeping the light game logic unchanged are better served by simplicity and direct inheritance. You can mitigate the coupling concern by keeping editor room focused solely on visualization logic and avoiding gameplay changes in that subclass. That's fine. That's what I would do. If you see here what option you're leaning toward, I was leaning toward inheritance. So, let's see. Dang. What else was I going to say? Okay, leaning towards inheritance myself. Let's think for a second. Okay, so here's another issue I need advice on, which is I'm going to make these changes to editor map itself first. But so these acknowledge. Okay, so the basic thing here is I'm going to want to make sure they run in the visualizations, run the editor as they do now, but also not run in the editor, but only in editor Mac 2. It's oddly specific, but I'm going to decouple an editor map, and I'm going to leave um, when I make the new scene, new layout tool, I want to make sure that these visualizations don't work in the editor, but only in the new scene. Is that too specific? That is that hard to do? Please give concise answers. Um, and small explanations without a bunch of code or anything. Rereading past attachments. Okay, so I wonder. I wasn't asking it for attachments. See, I don't get it. See, I mean, what? I mean, what does it do? It should just say if I run out of if I run out of questions, it should say that, shouldn't it? Rereading past attachments. All right, let's see what it does now. Maybe I need a new conversation, or maybe I hit the free version. But if I hit the free version, it should say that. It should say, mm, "Hey Rook, welcome to the stream. Only have about an hour left. I'm trying to get it to answer this thing, and did it it glitched on me. It said no response. It said there was an error of some sort. Now it's rereading past attachments, and now it's just kind of hanging. I'm not sure if it's because I hit its token max tokens, or if it's just because I'm on the free version now, and I it it answered enough questions or not. Because at some point it should say, free is up until blah blah blah. Um, can you answer? Why is it rereading past attachments? I didn't ask it to do that. Mm. I don't know, I must have hit it. Start a new Um, can you answer questions about a game, or is there a problem? Okay, for some reason, the previous conversation essentially just crapped out. I must have hit token limit or something. I would have suspected if it was because I'm on the X free account that it would tell me if I'm no longer able to ask questions. It does this on X.com after a while. So it must be some sort of limit. Since you're on the X free account, it's possible you get a usage quota, but unlike Exzel.com's clear cutoff warnings, limits here might not always be. Session constraints could be at play, especially with longer chats. I don't have access to exact backend details of it. Okay, so I guess I need to go ahead and paste the relevant script files first. Please don't offer a lot of advice or code until I explicitly ask for it. Uh, Also keep answers and advice short and concise. Nonetheless, I also ask for a longer explanation. I'm also going to say, please acknowledge or acknowledge or please act, meaning you're just telling me you processed the information and are awaiting further instruction. Thank you. Acknowledge. Ensure concisely response simple acknowledgement when you use this knowledge. Okay. if I'm posting code, sometimes I hit enter early, and you can just ask me if there's any more code, or you can just ask me if there's any more code before continuing discussion. Continue discussion. Acknowledge. Post code and save. All right, so let's go ahead and copy and paste the script files. Okay. Select all. Copy. And I'm just gonna go ahead and yes, that was the custom line to the class. Please wait a moment while I roll up other relevant files. Okay. All. Copy. Custom save.gd is a plugin that has a save button and a plus minus add remove room buttons. Room buttons. Copy. Control V. Now let's go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and add on. I just wanted to see it work. Copy. Okay. Select all. Copy. Room.gd. Door. Room.gd. V. Enter. Select all. Copy. V. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's all the relevant code. Room manager.gd is just for the actual game itself. It's relevant. Local LLM dude only. Yeah, I know that already, Rook. You've said it several times. Um, I don't know. Because these have like a lot more room and a lot more space and stuff. They still kind of beat the other ones. I mean, I looked at a couple of them and they're not up to date. Unless I want to do something like DeepSeek, which is Chinese, and there's still that little bit of issue. I don't know if um, it's not like I'm afraid of anything exactly, but sort of like at one point here in the U.S. they wanted to actually make it illegal to use it because the Chinese do have a tendency to want to, you know, uh, look into your stuff. In fact, if you use DeepSeek, I guess it's off their servers. I don't really know how that works. I don't know if they have like a chatbot set up to use DeepSeek directly. That you're essentially giving them whoops, um, you're essentially giving them permission to download all your stuff, and basically, I don't want to deal with that. So um, maybe I don't know. Maybe if I could use DeepSeek by itself, and maybe there isn't a problem. What I was gonna say is they wanted to make a law here that would make it illegal to use it. So that might even would extend to local, but of course they can't really see local unless they somehow got into your computer. And although I don't think anybody from the government is looking into my computer, they still kind of can if they want to. It's kind of like the whole hacking thing. I think anybody could probably tap into my feed here. Of course, obviously, I'm running a stream, literally streaming to YouTube and stuff, so obviously you can see that. But there are ways a real hackers that really know what they're doing could actually get into your system. So I don't know. It's sort of iffy with me as far as using DeepSeek, even on a local machine. So okay, it's irrelevant to the task at hand. Um, okay, so what was I gonna do? What was the next thing I was gonna do? Okay, a bit about how everything is set up. Editor map is a special scene that I use only for laying out rooms. What am I looking at? Doesn't matter. Editor map is a special scene that I only use for laying out rooms. And room in the room, the visuals in the room class only run in the editor. Now, the editor tools work fine for now, but I'm also going to start on a proper layout tool. Please play. Okay, now I should. For gameplay, not relevant here. Editor map is a dedicated scene for laying out rooms. Note that the editor tools are functional. You're playing in a proper layout tool. Okay. So what I was discussing in a prior conversation is that I'm going to decouple the visuals from the room and door classes. by creating a new class for each that extends your room and your classes. This is easy enough to do. The only issue is how I want to implement this when it comes to the editor tool. Please acknowledge. Okay. So the issue is I want the current code to work in the editor like it does now. And see why I say this in a moment. But the visuals and things, I only want to work in the new layout tools scene, the special new editor scene. And in that case, not in the editor itself. Keep in mind that I'm going to make a duplicate editor map scene that I'm going to change for use in the layout tool scene. When you run the scene, you'll be able to see the attached panel and text. Within the scene itself running, but the old editor map should still work as it does currently. Do I make sense? We'll see what it says. Plan to maintain the current editor map scene's functionality in the editor as it is, while creating a duplicate editor map scene for a new layout tool scene. In this new scene, visuals like panels and text should only appear when running the scene, not in the editor itself, unlike the current setup where the visuals are editor only. I understand you're decoupling the visuals. You want these visuals active only in the new layout tool scene when run. Okay. So I already know that, so I will decouple the room and door nodes. The door only has a color component, but I will actually move that into the extended class. And they'll run when in the editor. But how do I do it so that in the new editor map class, the duplicate, where that does not run in the editor, that does not run in the editor. but instead in the actual scene. Okay, well, it's gonna provide me a bunch of code anyways, which I asked it not to do, but that's quite all right. Achieve your goal of decoupling the visuals from maintaining the current editor map behavior in the editor and ensuring visuals only appear in the new layout tool seen when run, not in the editor. Here's a precise approach. Create new classes, visual room, visual door, extend room door to handle visuals. Keep the current editor map scene and scripts unchanged so visuals, rooms, panel text work in the editor as they do now. Create duplicate editor map scene, layout tool map. The layout tool where visuals are handled by a visual room and only appear in the scene. Modify the new layout tool scene to use extended classes and control visual rendering based on runtime conditions. Steps. Create extended classes. Okay, I got it. Yes. Visual room. Set up layout visuals. Okay, I get it. And I can actually handle this actual part of it myself here. Because I know how to do that. It's not a trouble. Remove the color export. The create method. Right. Okay. Create duplicate item rep scene. Name it layout tool map.tscene. Create a new script. Layout tool map.gd. Extending editor map. That's right. Extending editor map. That's right. That's right. Actually, yes. Yes, I think. All right. Function ready. And is not editor hint. Load rooms at runtime. Place room with visual room. Room.new. Door indoors. The editor map. Oh, well, that's not what I meant, though, too, so. Visual door moves door color property of visual color, visual room. Well, okay, I guess, no, I still want to decouple. Okay. Well, I understand that, however, well, there's a little issue here. I'm going to decouple first so that the existing editor map uses the new extended classes. This is so I can return room and door classes to pure game classes. So both the editor map and duplicate will use the extended classes. The only way I can think of making it work the way I want is to add a flag in the visual classes that tell it that it's um, it's part of the layout tool rather than the regular editor stuff. So that way, if the layout tool flag is not set, then it will work as normal, detecting when it's in the editor and only running in the editor. However, if I have the layout tool checked, then it will run it regardless. And then, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, the editor, the new editor map thing will have stuff for drawing the visuals. That's right. Uh, oh. What do you think of this solution? Please keep it concise. Okay. Flag can toggle behavior when unset. Visuals run only in the editor as now. When set, visuals run in the layout tool map seen at runtime. Ignoring it, this approach is clean and avoids duplicating logic. Simple, reusable code, clear separation of game and visual logic. Okay. Okay, so that sounds good then. And then I'm going to actually rewrite. Let's see. How the visuals work in the layout tool, which means I can probably tell it to and can probably different functions in the layout tool version. These will have to be implemented in the extended room and door classes. Namely, custom line 2D will be changed to a general purpose editor overlay where I draw all the lines and door and inbound visuals. It will be, of course, a different class as well. Can't think of anything else I need to do at the moment. I do know there is more stuff, but I just can't think of it right this second. Please acknowledge. Flag. To differentiate behavior between editor map and layout tool map runtime visuals, you'll rewrite the visuals for layout tool using distinct functions, extended classes, replacing general purpose editor to handle land store visuals. You're aware of additional tasks but can't recall them now. Let me know when you're ready with questions or further details. Okay, so it looks like I'm not getting anything done later today either, but well, I'll start the thing of the decoupling part of it. I'll see if I can get the decoupling done before the end of the day here. Hmm. Okay, going to attempt to decouple visuals. Now, I'll talk to you in a few minutes. It doesn't matter about its time. All right, so we are going to do what I said here, and let's do something here. What if I did this and I shrunk it down like that? Because hardly anybody talks in here, and it'll just go up. And then this, can I kind of do the same thing here? We'll do it like that. That's good. And then shoot, let's do that. That'll work. That'll be fine. Well, it'd be good to cover this up somehow. See, what could I use to cover that up? Let's just do that. I don't really need that, but let's just do it anyways. Just to be funny. There, that way, I don't have the infinite, you know. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Okay. Same thing with this. That. And I know I'm doing this kind of weird rejiggery here. What was that? Jiggery pokery? Okay. Well, shoot. We're just gonna make it look all like supercomputery and stuff here. And let's pull up the terminal window, and we'll use that to cover the rumble. So there we go. Now it looks. Does it look like I'm a hacker now? Does I have all these windows open and they look all technical and stuff? Oh, there we go. And let's see if I can shrink this a little bit. No, it won't let me shrink it. It's kind of too bad. I'd like something to shrink. I guess it's because it has all these buttons here, but it's just too bad they can't just put this whole thing on a scroller, including these buttons, and that way I could resize it wherever I wanted it. I could still scroll down. It would just scroll the whole window here. Anyways, that's all right. That's all right. Okay, so the one thing I'm gonna do here is first I'm gonna create door. Hello door. Um, see if we can duplicate here. I guess I can't really duplicate. There's not a duplicate function, right? I don't want to copy script path. I just want to copy the script and here I guess show in file system. That's not what I wanted to do. Show in file manager. There we go. All right. Whoa. Bright light. Okay. Copy. Paste. Here, let me ask Grok something. Um okay. Quick question. Do I want to call it ext door or door ext or something else? Right. But less specific about purpose. And visual door, descriptive visually. Door visual. Similar to visual door. Less conventional order. Visual room. Visual door. So visual door. And visual room. What's the? I guess I'm gonna and visual door.gd and visual room.gd. Should just say yes, exactly. Camel case class names are standard. Well, actually, camel case has one lowercase. So it's actually Pascal case, but that's quite all right. Okay, rename visual door. Okay, let's go check that out first. Also, let me. Let's do this. Let's do. Nope. Let's do. What did I? Oh, terminal. That. Then let's do this. Open VM, and then you're a hacker. Yeah, Vim. I know. I don't really even really know about Vim, honestly. But if it's a good editor, I mean I know it's been around Linux for a while, but I don't really know nothing about it. So if it's super easy to use, maybe I'll use it. Who knows? Um, okay, Visual Door. What is that? Let's call this last name Visual Door. Extends node 2D. Now we don't need. The only thing that we want here is we want color. Create. Okay. New door equals visual door.new. Okay, that's fine. Okay. See, it's almost time for me to go now. Identifier not found. Visual viz door. Oh, extends or area. That's okay. Let's go to the door class. And let's go ahead and remove color. And let's go ahead and remove color. And we'll remove color here. One equals false. bool equals false. Okay, I don't need enter tree here. And I also don't need ready here. And then let's go to visual door. Okay. Okay. So I want to call door.create from visual door. What do I, how do I do that? Call static door create method. You use door class directly since visual door extends door. Here's how. Create visual. Visual door, visual color. Just call. Base door.key free temporary base door. Return visual door. Interesting. Okay, give me a moment. Okay. Um. Okay, so we're gonna call this. Let's see. Our base door equals door dot create. Oh, door dot. Wait. Door dot create. Okay. Ident ch destination door name that visual door equals visual door new door equals visual door new. These will all be the okay. Base door dot control C B return new door. I think that will work all right. Okay. Now what time is it? It's 3:30. Doggone it. Okay. Right now I'm not using. Oh, I see though. Color doesn't exist now. Okay, let's do what it said. Let's just do it. Let's call this visual color. Okay, and then let's go back to door, and let's do a Control Z, Control Z. There we go. That. The door. Why does color? Why is there a problem? Oh, S. Yeah, let's scene, reload, save scene. Maybe it doesn't work for now. Okay, that works fine. And there's no errors. Okay, okay, okay. Alright, so it still works like it used to work until I use the other. And I'm going to do the same thing with the room, but I'm not going to do that just right this second. Alright, I guess I'm going to call it a day, so it's an awful editor. It's super hard to use, hacker level editing. Okay, well, that's fine. I guess I guess I can learn Vim when I decide to install Arch Linux. And then I can say, by the way, I use Arch Linux. Right. And I can also say, by the way, I use Vim, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Vim, I guess. Vim. Um, okay, so I guess that's all I'm going to do for today. Okay. Okay, so I just did the door class. Um, I'm going to call it a day and resume tomorrow around the same time. Well, I normally start around 11:30, 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. Thank you for your help. Okay. No, I'm not back. I said I was replying to your last statement. It's still Wednesday, and I'll either come back tonight, not as likely, not very likely, or and I'll definitely return tomorrow. Thursday, May 22nd. Alright, I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so let me do my little recording. It should be really short and sweet. Start recording. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, and today I still didn't get a lot of done. I got a little something done though, honestly. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but this line would be blank when I loaded a scene. So I just fixed it to where it updated the line, the room dictionary, and then updated the lines, and so now this line isn't missing. I decided to leave this as is, even the cross lines, but instead I'm going to make sure that there are no loops this time around. So phase one's not going to have any loops to to uh, to be in line with actual Choose Your Own Adventure. Um, and I decided to decouple the visuals from the um, room and door classes themselves, uh, in preparation for my layout tool. And so right now I just created something called Visual Door, and it basically duplicates everything in Door here. Um, but yeah, so everything is done here, and that's all cool. And tomorrow I'll work on room and stuff. So that's pretty much all I got done today, and see what I get done tomorrow. Uh-oh. Why is it not stopping the recording? Stop. Okay. Guess it was just me. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. All one person of you, Rook, but thanks for watching or stop dropping in or whatever, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I hope to do a little bit more. I think I'll end up doing a little bit more. I'm gonna get this decoupling part done first, uh, and then I won't be working on the layout till tomorrow. I'll make sure that this decoupling stuff is completely done and completely working the way I want it, and then I'll work on some of the game. I'll edit the rooms, add more rooms or whatever, and then maybe I'll start working on the layout till on Friday possibly. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.